round is it?
Now
Is
the
it the
archive
future?
now the archive
Is
viewers can hear us, but
is the
they
future? Is the future people or the past people who can hear us?
now every people can hear us. Every
Now
people.
every people. Oh right, all across the universe,
All across the universe, every people can hear us.
uh, and throughout time and space.
And we're here to talk about Steve of the Daleks.
We're here to talk about evil of the Daleks.
Yeah, we're here to talk about Evil of the Daleks. My
About
favourite
yeah,
new Doctor Who episode.
yeah. It's the first episode that has ever been aired
Yeah,
in the
we're here to
world.
talk about this crazy new show that aired on BBC One the other day called Doctor Who. Don't know if any of you have seen it before, but like, well, you won't have because it's new. But
It's about a person in the box,
yeah,
and they do time and space.
honestly, I think they probably at the BBC had meetings where that was probably the other title that they discussed calling the show before they edit. Person in the box goes through time and space.
Well, I did come up with a new name for it, and I did hold a Twitter poll saying that we should change Doctor Who's title to Personally the Spacebox Person. And yes, we should change it to Personally the Spacebox
Is
Person
that the
1.
result? Yeah,
So
excellent, excellent.
officially, Doctor Who is now called. Someone in the chat just put P of the Daleks. I am a child. Hooray!
So, welcome everyone. We're a bit late this time, mainly because I was ill. Fun fact, we were just talking about this before the stream. Last time I got ill at all was after Timeless Children aired, and now I've got ill after Eve of the Daleks. So we're off to a great starting sign.
Well, it is a scientific fact that stress makes your immune system worse. So, you can kind of legitimately say that
Can I
Eve of
sue the
Daleks made you worse.
BBC?
Yes, you can sue the BBC. That is a fact.
I mean, can I sue the BBC for this and win?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, I mean, and on the Timeless Children stream, I definitely did have COVID. So
And
there,
this is the stream
there.
where I almost certainly have COVID.
Ooh, that's fun. So we've got. Oh my God, am I going to get COVID because I'm listening to your words coming into my ears?
Yeah, I'm
Is that how
speaking.
it works?
The COVID particles are being transferred through my microphone into your headphones, and as we all know,
Because
COVID is best transmitted into the ear.
yes, that is true. You know that the internet is eventually going to get to that point, though.
Well, you can
You know,
send
where
someone COVID if you
you
want.
know, yeah, well, where you can like physically connect with people over the internet.
I don't think people are going to use that to send each other viruses first.
Oh, that's true. No, but it will get to a point where people can physically connect over the internet because
Yeah,
because rule 32.
but
Is that what that means? I
I
don't know.
mean,
I don't know.
34 is one of the only ones
34.
I know, and that's the one
30
where
rule 34. That's rule
it's
34.
like,
That's it. I
oh,
didn't know whether I was
if you
doing an
make a
internet wrong.
cartoon, someone will make porn.
I don't know. That's probably. I'm using it in the wrong context, but yes, life will find a way. Eventually, you will be
Life
able
will
to
find.
physically connect
Rule
with people over the
34 is that
internet and give
life
each
will
other
find a
COVID.
way.
Yeah, that's whatever the fuck I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, people always accuse me of denigrating the conversation and bringing us off topic. So we're here to talk about Doctor Who.
We are. Stuart, what did you think of Eve of the Daleks? We've not talked about this
Um,
yet. I don't know what you thought.
no, we haven't talked about this yet. I was just sort of all right. I absorbed that through my eyeballs, and then I started tweeting some things during the episode. Like I tweet one mild joke about the Daleks having shit aim
Which they
because the
do.
Daleks said they said earlier in the episode Daleks learn, and I tweet Daleks learn. Didn't learn how to aim though, did you? And then I tweet that, and then all of a sudden I'm just bombarded with messages and quote tweets and things like that of being drawn into this weird conversation which I've only sort of been half following about plot armor.
Yeah,
And there's lots of people trying to like assign opinions onto me based on a joke that I just tweeted, and I'm just sort of like,
but they didn't learn to aim though.
okay, it's just sort of like, I know this fandom is mad, but they feel like I feel like they're more mad than usual.
Yeah, it's very got very angry defenders of this one. Just because I feel it's a perpetual internet truth that the smaller and more outnumbered the group feels, the more angry and defensive they'll get, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's probably it. And I am sort of sensing this. I am sort of sensing this aura of fatigue coming from the Tribunal defenders, as in like listening to the rest of us complain about it all the time. And I feel it might have just sort of got to a point where they're just like, oh, for fuck's sake, can't we just have one? Can't just one of these just be good?
I mean, yeah,
And
that's how I feel as well.
I kind of get that because yeah, that is kind of how I feel as well. Because I am just tired of all this relentless negativity around the current era. But
It's
it's
like
just sort of like I can't help it if I've got complaints.
this era has, I mean, this episode has so much going for it that could have allowed it to be great. Like it's got a really nifty premise. Um, it has it has a real. Okay, maybe I don't know. I'm kind of struggling after that one.
That's one. Some of the characters are quite nice. I like Ashleen B.
I like Ashleen B. I don't know who the other guy is, but I like Ashleen B. It has it's self-contained. It has everything it needs to just be a cool, neat story of its own.
It's simple.
It is.
And
Well, yeah.
It's it's actually quite annoying because it's like it's the opposite of Flux because you know like the big complaint about Flux is it's too complicated and you can barely follow the fucking thing.
Yeah.
So it's like on one side we go from like several weeks ago everyone was complaining about it being too complicated. Now we're going to get to a point where we're going to be complaining that it's too simple.
Oh, so I'm not sure that I've seen anyone complain that it's too simple. Because like
Oh, I'm gonna fucking complain that it's too
I
simple
don't
when
know.
we get to the when we get to the Dalek missing every shot bit.
But so is that the problem? Is the problem there that it's too simple, or is it just that the Dalek's missing every shot, and that's the only way that they
No,
thought to have the character survive
should we
that
should
scene?
okay should we okay should we just get into the big controversy right off the
The
bat?
plot armor controversy.
The plot armor controversy. Yeah, should
Yeah,
we just get into that? Should we just
it's
get into that right off the
embarrassing
bat?
how the scenes of the Daleks missing shots in this episode are frankly quite embarrassing. Right? We can
Yeah,
go with
because
that.
yeah, let's just go with that. I think that the main reason that this has bugged, like, say, me and you, for example, and like lots of people who've been watching this episode, is because it's location choice, direction, and special effects. Because the Daleks, they're in these tight corridors.
Well, especially considering the fact that it's contrasted with the Daleks having to kill our main characters like 7 times in this episode. But the second that, and you know, every time they kill the main characters just like this is a trend. If the main characters are gonna die, they are standing still, not trying anything, and the Daleks hit them on their first shot, right? As soon, you know, those you'll see that, and it's like, oh, this is a scene where the Dalek kills the main characters. Whereas if the it's and basically in all of those scenes, the characters have pretty much you can tell like from the way it's shot and the way it's framed that the characters sort of know they're about to die. Whereas any time that there's like hope in the character's eyes, that they're trying to escape, that they're running or something, anytime like that, the Daleks will miss all of the shots. And as soon as the Dalek misses its first shot, you know it's not going to hit the person. So
Yeah, it's like every time that we know that every time we know that the character is about to die, they do always stop
yeah.
as if they know it.
So like,
This is
oh,
the
here's the scene.
this is the pre-programmed bit in the script where the character has to die.
So
It's like no human would react like that.
then I've got the scene up here. I can show the audience this. The scene where the Daleks just unload from a Gatling gun into a narrow hallway full of people and none of them get shot.
All I know is we don't have much.
Yeah, and it's like there's that bit later in the episode where the guy has the genius idea of ducking when there's two Daleks in the
Yeah,
corridor
which
facing
is
one into the other end,
basically lifted
which
wholesale from Battle of Ranskar Kolos.
yeah,
That's all.
and it's sort of like if the Daleks are so shit at aiming, how is he certain that they're going to hit each other in this situation?
It's just it's every time the Daleks need to be embarrassing in this episode so that the heroes can beat them, they are. It's like the Sontarans in War of the Sontarans, where the Daleks aren't defeated because our heroes outsmart them, but because they suddenly become randomly really embarrassingly inept at random points in the story whenever our heroes need to get a leg up for a second.
But the plot armor argument is okay. Okay, let's actually engage with the other side of this, because the other side of this is, I get it. I get why people would say. I get why people would say, of course, they don't shoot our main characters because
Yeah.
they're our main characters, and that would therefore derail the story. And it's
But
like,
it
okay,
wouldn't
if you
in
want to
this
make
one.
it wouldn't, yeah, it fucking wouldn't in this one, right?
They get shot 7 times. It's like, you know what, it would be, so it's all a matter of making it not look embarrassing, right? Making it there a reason for that to be the way that the scene plays out, so that the audience can understand the stakes of any given scene, right? The audience should be able to understand that if you're trapped in a hallway with a Dalek that's firing at you, you're done, you're dead. But you know, that's just they just run casually, and they're able to make jokes on the way, and the Dalek just misses what, like 50, 100 shots
Yeah,
against 5 of them.
yeah, and it's like, and they can die, so
Yeah.
why not?
As if you want,
It's like it's like I kept on getting people sending me this stuff saying if Daleks shoot our main characters and they die, there would be no story, and it's just sort of
that's
like,
what the story is
are
about.
are you watching the same thing I'm watching?
Yeah. So you got like, if you want the characters to survive this scene, like this scene that we just showed, the hallway scene where the Dalek misses every shot, you just put them go around a corner or something. It's easy. Make it so the Dalek is approaching them and it's about to get in their line of fire. They're about to get in its sights, but they manage to escape before it actually shoots them. Loads of easy ways to do it. And conversely, when you actually have a scene where the Dalek gets them, you could have it so that not every time are they dying on their own terms, are they dying standing still. You know, you could have one of them try to escape and the Dalek maybe misses the first couple of shots, but then mows them down, which would be way more visceral, and it would really communicate to the audience that there are stakes whenever the Dalek is on screen. Whenever the Dalek is on screen, it might try to shoot them and it might hit them. Instead, we have a very clear disconnect between scenes where the Dalek is going to kill them. Basically, every scene where the Dalek kills the main characters, it's communicated beforehand. Don't worry, it's okay. They'll be fine.
They're supposed to die at a set point whenever the characters stop. And it's just sort of like, okay, take out the time loop premise, take out the premise that they can die, all right? Take it right straight back to its heart, straight back to the plot armor argument. Say this was a normal episode in which it didn't have a time loop and the characters could only die once. Yes, you could then say, if our of course the Dalek misses the shots, because if it kills our main characters, then they're dead, and that's fine. If that's your point, right, make that argument and stop right there, because you start sounding fucking stupid when you add on to that. If the stormtroopers could shoot our main characters, there'd be no Star Wars, because that is not a comparison here, because the Daleks are super intelligent alien killing machines.
Well,
They're not.
Well, the stormtroopers are elite soldiers and missed on purpose in Star Wars. There's a line. It explicitly justifies that.
But stormtroopers are just like regular people.
Well, they're well trained, and they
the Daleks
both
have
of
been
these
bred for war.
Both of these, because the stormtroopers were trained trained soldiers. There's a line in A New Hope that specifically ups them as, these guys, they're pretty elite. They're accurate. It's like, what is it? Only Imperial stormtroopers are so precise. And the only battle where they miss all the time, is the one on the Death Star, where it's later revealed that they let the main characters escape on purpose. Then you've got Return of the Jedi, where their aim actually is pretty bad. But Return of the Jedi has got a lot of problems.
But it's like they are fallible humans. These Daleks have been bred to kill.
Yeah, like Sontarans.
Hmm.
The thing is, as well,
tight spaces, tight corridors.
Yeah, it's like if the main characters were shot here, there'd be no story. Okay, cool. So that's why we put them in a different situation where it's not laughably embarrassing that they don't get shot. It's like if that's your argument, it's like, yeah, I agree with the argument. It's like okay, when someone hears the argument, oh, the Daleks, it's embarrassing that the Daleks missed this shot, right? Why would you immediately assume that the version of the story I'm advocating for is one where the main characters all get shot and die and that's the end? No, what you want is a scene that's choreographed in a way that it's much less embarrassing that the Daleks don't kill the heroes, or maybe a scene where the heroes have got some kind of strategy or use their own skills to avoid getting shot by the Daleks. Anyway,
they don't do that.
And
they could have done that because again, it's they can die, so why don't they? But in this situation, for some reason they've added this mechanism in where the loop gets smaller and smaller each time, so they've only got a set amount of times that they can die.
Well, that's the classic Chibnall ticking clock.
Yeah, the classic Chibnall ticking clock, which I suppose, like, theoretically gives it some stakes, but I'm struggling to see a point in having a time loop where you're only allowed to play with it in a strictly regimented way.
Well, I mean, how do you mean? Because I do like the premise of this story. I think it could work for a really cool adventure, where you've got basically Daleks say enough is enough. They show up to kill the Doctor. And the Doctor gets killed because the Daleks have the drop on her, but then there is a time loop, so the Doctor is able to each time try to figure out a way to escape, and eventually does. I mean, that's a really cool premise, and you could do a lot with that.
Yeah, you could do even more than they do with this, because in this time loop, I found it kind of weird that there's only one character on screen who isn't aware of the time loop. Because one of the things that I love so much about time loop stories is the way that characters affected by the time loop interact with other characters who aren't affected by the time loop.
Who isn't aware of the time loop?
Pauline McGlynn's character, Aisling B's mum, on the phone.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she's the only character in this who isn't aware of the time loop.
I think it makes sense that they're all aware of the time loop, because they are all dying every time and being reborn, based.
Yeah, I mean they don't have to be. It's just I enjoy that aspect of it. Like they like how Dan. I always just call him John Bishop. But Dan's mentioned. Yeah, he mentions Groundhog Day at that one point, and saying like this is basically Doctor Who does Groundhog Day. It's not really though, because like the point of Groundhog Day is the way that he interacts with characters unaffected by the time loop.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like what's going on here is that you're seeing this episode, which is essentially just empty. It's what it does with this premise is it builds like a fairly standard Chibnall romance where it's like you've got. I mean, I don't want to describe a standard Chibnall romance, Stuart. We've got one of them. We've got
awkward characters behave in ways that normal humans just wouldn't.
Really weird scenes between them, and then they get together at the end and are happy apparently, and you're like, okay, cool, I suppose. That's fine. You guys are allowed to be happy. That's permitted. We've got.
You need written permission from JX if you were allowed to be happy or not.
I'm the Happiness Patrol. we've got normal level Chibnall jokes. Well, I've got the bit on screen right now is where Yaz looks at the beans and beef, canned beans and beef, and says, "Who looks at beans and thinks if only this could be a bit more beefy?" And you're like, that was a joke, I suppose.
It sounded like a joke. It's got the rhythm of it.
And then you've got, oh yeah, you've got Thasmin. Let's not do that yet. And then we've got.
Oh yeah, let's save that for later.
Yeah, normal. Should we do it? Should we start from the top now?
Okay, let's start from the top. We've done the difficult bit.
We've done one of the two difficult bits. The
One
other
of the two
difficult bit will be
difficult
Phasma.
Yeah, let's do that later. Okay, let's start from the top.
Right. Let me just open my notes on my laptop. Right. I'm gonna move all this crap off my desk so I can fit my laptop on it. I'm organized. Shut up. Right. So. This isn't.
In fairness to you, you are ill. So
that's true. That is true. Yeah. There's a lot of like crap next to my bed at the moment because that's just where I wallowed in death. But we open with our two like side characters of this episode being introduced, I think, fairly adequately. We get them just sort of have some weird, uncomfortable banter, which I think tonally does establish who they are relatively effectively. And
yeah, like the first few minutes are fine.
Yeah, then they go up to their like.
Problem with them.
I mean, I think that the comedy sort of derails the characterization when it's kind of forced. But other than that, you know, I'm all right with this introduction to the characters. It serves its purpose.
It's mostly Ashdene B, I think.
We're introduced to the Doctor who's trying to like doing a reset of the TARDIS.
Oh yeah, I've just seen her phone flash up on the screen and it says 23:48. I quite like that this episode is set over 12 minutes.
That is quite fun. I wish it was 12 minutes. So they have to do this this little TARDIS reset to dump out all the flux goo or something. It's not important why, they just have to do it. It's fine. We can just accept that. That's fine.
They have to reflimberfly the splumby do.
They have to reflimberfly the splumby do, which means they all have to get out of the TARDIS real quick while it can reset. Loads of people watching this assumed that this is going to be how they would introduce the new TARDIS interior for Russell's era. I, myself included, I was so ready for this to be, we saw like the whole TARDIS interior, the Jodie one go, and it's totally, they're going to go back in at the end of the episode and it's going to be the new TARDIS interior for the next run. It's nice that they're doing that now, you know, because it would be sort of a cliche for them to just do it exactly as Jodie regenerates.
What was that gunk that was growing on the TARDIS then? Was that part of the flux?
I guess that's just another flux plot element that we can dismiss as entirely pointless now. The TARDIS going all flumpy for the whole of Flux. It was like, that was something that was really important to take some time out of the Halloween apocalypse to establish, is that the TARDIS, it was going all weird and wumpy. And it's just like, yeah, that didn't have any consequence and we fix it in this episode.
Bye.
Yeah, that's we're done with that now, I guess. So we got someone in chat saying "rescrunkle the scrimblo."
Just make up some words.
Someone says "splumbledoo my asshole." I'm busy. Sorry. Right. So. They're resetting the TARDIS, and it means they can't go in it or they'll die or whatever, right? And they realize they've not landed where they thought. They've landed in Manchester, which incidentally was the city from my parody of the Chibnall era. That's.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, and they also do the Doctor says that we're going to show up to a beach, and then they come out and then they're disappointed because it's a warehouse, which, you know, is basically like basically like reverse the polarity of the neutron flow. So you know,
Yeah, I mean, we did that in our one. It was like, let's look at the collision of Andromeda. Oh, we're in Slough. Done quite
yeah.
funnily. Um, although I don't think Manchester is as funny as Slough. I will say that. And also, like, I think in our run, we could use that to characterize a little companion who would say, "Wait, we're in Slough in like 1987," and then they're actually interested by the prospect of being in 1987, and they want to have a look around instead of just going back to look at the collision of Andromeda again. Apparently, we're getting some bad buffering. There's not much I can do about that, but if you
Is that
can hear this
my end or yours?
on my end, on the stream. Um, I'll just type into chat. Can't do anything to fix any buffering. So if it
Please
gets
stop
too bad, just
complaining.
watch the archive version of this.
I want a Doctor Who episode to be set in Cockermouth.
Well, on Great Cock Up. What?
Yeah, either what other funny town names are there?
Oh, there's a place in Austria called Fucking.
Yeah, I feel that's a bit too obvious. I think that Cockermouth, because Cockermouth could almost sound like a real place. Well, it is a real place, but it could almost sound like a place that isn't funny.
What about Twat?
Is there a place called Twat?
There is. It's spelled with
With
two T's.
two T's with an E on the end. Whether
I
there's
don't
an E
think
on
there's
the
an
end,
E
I
on
have
the
no
end.
idea. Apparently I'm googling it. Apparently there's a place called Penis Stone.
That is. It's called Pennystone.
Penny Stone. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's spelled penis tone because it's all one word.
Oh, there's a place called Upper Thong.
There's a place
Imagine
in
saying
Canada
that you
called Dildo.
Imagine saying that you live in Upper Thong. What were we talking about? I do this all the time.
The TARDIS crew have arrived in Manchester in a warehouse.
Yes, so the TARDIS crew have arrived in Penis Stone and they're in a warehouse.
We've got this guy Nick. He's storing all of his stuff. Is that a corn on the cob pillow? I think it might
What,
be.
a corn on the cob?
I think he has a corn on the cob pillow.
Oh, I'm not up to.
No, it's not actually a corn on the cob pillow. It's just a pillow that looks a bit like a corn on the cob from certain angles.
Oh, hang on, my stream is lagging. That's why I can't see it yet.
I think there it is.
Oh,
It
there
looks
we
a
are.
bit like a corn on the cob, right?
Yeah, probably.
But I think it is just a normal pillow that from that angle looks like a corn on the cob. It's good that we settled that.
Oh yes, Scunthorpe because it has cunt in the name.
That's true. That's one that gets blocked by your profanity filters. Where's my remote?
Oh yeah, would YouTube have just censored me? Would they have cut out me saying the cunt word?
I think they're smart enough to establish to understand that it's in like the middle of a different word, so they don't censor it.
No, I mean I just said it out loud because you said that
Oh
it
no,
filters
that
out
is true. That is
when
true.
I make weird noises.
No, but YouTube
I don't
doesn't
know.
care about
Could you-
swearing.
Okay. Because I was going to ask chat whether you could hear me saying the cunt word.
Discord filters out basically anything that isn't distinctly human speech. But no, we don't. It lets swearing
Anyway,
through.
so yeah, they're in a warehouse. The TARDIS is going all fucky,
Yeah,
and
and
that has created a time loop in
well,
which
that's not even apparent yet. The first thing that happens is the Daleks show up and shoot them. So our side characters, they get shot. Then the Doctor shows up to the Dalek and is like, "Hey Dalek, why are you killing these people?" Which is kind of a weird question. Like
because it's a Dalek.
yeah, I'm like the first question should really be like, "What are you doing here?" That kind of thing. Not why are you killing these people, Dalek? It's like, I remember this character in an episode written by Robert Shearman saying, if you can't kill, what's the point of you? A Dalek? Great space dustbin. How does it feel? Because, like, the Daleks kill. That's the thing that they do, famously. Also, the production on the Daleks doesn't look... I mean, like, there are only so many ways that you can mess up a Dalek prop. But this has been a staple of the Chibnall era, is anytime the bronze Daleks appear on screen, you can see the seal between, like, you know how they've got that little cylindrical bit that goes under the slats in their neck? It's like this black textured stuff.
Yeah.
In the Chibnall era, it's not really been put in there properly, and you can see where it sort of folds in over itself, because it's got a seal. It's they've made it out of a material that they've bent round and then like sealed together, and you can see that anyway.
See, I like how you enthusiasm for this complaint like halfway through that because you realised I wasn't going to join it.
It's fine. It's just it's not a big thing. It's just like I don't see why you couldn't shift that round slightly so that the slat obscures the join like they have done for every other series until now.
It's just like push it in a little bit more.
Yeah. Just do that. Right. So the doctor jams.
Also that hanging bit of tinsel behind the Dalek right there is just sort of hanging a little bit too far off, and we should like, I want a member of the production team to just sort of wrap it around the bar a little bit more.
Anyway, so the Doctor comes up to the Dalek and apparently uses her sonic screwdriver to jam its weapon signals, which my memory on this might not be 100%, but I recall that this is a thing from Revolution of the Daleks, last year's special, where the Doctor was apparently able to jam the Dalek weapons. Because these Daleks, she was able to do it to the new Daleks, to the ones that were built on Earth by Jack Robertson, because they were new and their weapon systems hadn't properly integrated yet. But now she's able to do it to just any Dalek, I guess. Except she isn't, because the Dalek is like, lol, no, we figured out how to stop you from doing that since the last episode. And then it shoots them all.
So it's the Doctor developed a Dalek weapon stopper, and the Dalek developed a Doctor Dalek weapon stopper.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, it's that kind of arms race of I have an anti-Dalek weapon shield. Well, I have an anti-Dalek weapon shield. Dalek weapon.
It's like the Kate Stewart's anti-snake power magic shield.
We get it's called a psychic manifest shield. I'm never going to forget that. I don't know why. That's just in here now. That's called a psychic manifest shield, Stuart.
How? I just call it anti-snake power.
Nah, it's just this is burned in my brain.
I call it anti-snake power magic shield because it sounds like something from a porn.
Anyway, the title sequence is 10 minutes in.
Yeah, that's quite a long time. I suppose it's because they wanted to get us all the way up to the first death and reset. So it looks like,
I guess, but it's like, I don't know. I complained about it when it was 5 minutes in the Matt Smith era, when it was like, hey, Pandorica opens. That has a 5-minute pre-credit sequence. It's like, that feels too long. Because when you're that far into the episode, you don't get.
Then it's like we know we're watching Doctor Who at this point.
It's like in episodes where you have a brief stinger before the credits. It's like, oh yeah, this gets me in the mood. Oh, now it's the show. I'm hyped. The title sequence. Here we go. Right. But when you're like 10 minutes into the episode and the title sequence starts, you're like, oh, have we not had the title sequence yet? Oh, okay, I guess it's time for that then.
It's kind of superfluous at this point.
Yeah. this is a small thing. I just wish that we would have. It's like what is? How far into an episode does it have to be before it is silly? I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely like more than 5 minutes, I'd say. Because the title sequence is meant to be there, so it says, "Hello, person who's been flicking channels or is watching this accidentally. This is not for you. Go away."
Yeah. So yeah, basically what's happened is all of our characters have shown up to a warehouse and are all been shot by Daleks and died. That's a hell of an opening hook. And then we get this scene that's sort of doing this weird surreal thing of the characters clearly being somewhat aware that they've all just been through this before, but they're not quite aware, and it's not clear how much they do and don't know. And tonally, I do like the scene, but I feel like they could have done a lot more with it.
Yeah, just sort of like they could like what would be quite cool is if they sort of remembered dying.
Yeah, and you're not even sure if they do remember dying. You're not sure what they do and don't remember at this beginning part. What I do like, and I do think this is quite well done, is when they like there are moments where they very clearly do something and then are very immediately aware of, I've already done that, and they don't just say, hang on, this is familiar. It's just done through their performances and what isn't said and the way it's framed, which, oh, it's so good to be able to say that watching one of these episodes. Let's see if I can find one.
Here are your keys. Away.
Most places have.
Access codes. Yes, I know. No need to go on about it.
Oh yeah, that's the first one. Is he says most places have access codes when she gives him his keys to his storage unit. And he says most places have access codes now, which is something that he said the last time. And she says, "Don't go on about there's no need to go on about it." But then suddenly realizes, hang on, he's been here for like 30 seconds. How could he possibly have been going on about it? And it's all done through subtext of, hang on, I don't go on about it, but he's just arrived. What's going on here? Kind of, it's actually quite well done. I do really appreciate the little tidbits of good writing we get in this scene.
Yeah, like, because it is a good idea. No one's like, no, you can't like. I may have complaints about this episode, but I'm not going to say it's not a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I think there's certain scenes in it that are pretty well done. This is one of them. Actually, it might be the only one that I think is well done. None others spring to mind. But I like this scene. That's nice. I like it. It's good. It's doing the thing well. I do honestly. I wish we could have got more of that stuff though, because it is it's run and done very quickly. The whole they're confused about the time loop, and after it ends, we don't really get anything about how these characters are affected by the fact they keep being shot and like reviving in a time loop. We don't really get much.
Yeah, they don't really react to it that much.
They just sort of run around and make jokes.
It's just sort of like after this first reset where they realize it, a lot of it is just running around making jokes and the Doctor coming up with this plan of how to utilize the time loop in order to stop the Daleks.
Like, I don't think that Chris knows how to write like a more subtle mental breakdown where a character is clearly not okay but is still like able to function in some ways. Or like I feel like if Chris is going to write a character having a mental breakdown, they're just going to stop functioning at all and like curl up in a corner and cry or something. But you can still very clearly have a character being affected by the fact that they just got shot and they swear they remember that, but that can't be right. They're still here, but all of these things. But what
I remember pain. I remember dying. I saw beyond the infinite, and there's nothing.
The TARDIS crew are very quick to accept the time
They
loop.
wouldn't go that far. Of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The TARDIS crew they accept the time loop instantly, which I guess is fine. They're time travelers. They can take that stuff on the chin if they want to. Dan is wearing a knowing smile for this entire episode.
He doesn't say much though, does he?
He never does.
No, he just sort of runs around after the Doctor and Yaz from here.
So yeah, Nick, he gets shot again, and Aisling B, she goes to find weapons to use against the Dalek in the storage units, but she only finds beef because, yeah. It's interesting that none of them just hide, right? Like, you'd think that maybe they'd try that. And it could make the Daleks more intimidating when the Daleks just instantly find them. Maybe the Daleks have like thermal vision or whatever. You know, world's your oyster. You can do whatever you want with this. Well, not whatever you want, but you know. The side characters, they get killed again. And then we get our second confrontation between our main characters and the Dalek, which I think is... I mean, I've written a lot of notes about this scene because it's just like... It epitomizes why I think the dialogue in this episode... Well, and it's standard Chibnall dialogue, but I think it's such a good example of why it just doesn't work at all. So the confrontation goes like this, right? We have... First of all, we have the Dalek arriving and saying that Dalek strategy is supreme, to which the Doctor says you. She's like, okay, that's sort of like I don't know. It feels more like a child said to another child, "You're a poo head," and Jodie turns back and says you. Like, that's what that response feels more in line with. Not, I don't get the sense of like this character. You know, great scenes between the Doctor and the villain where the Doctor is sort of trying to probe into the villain's motivations or try to sneak some information out whenever they can, or trying to establish that trying to not give any ground and establish that they're not scared of the villain, stuff like that. And it's just like, no, none of that here. It's just like, fuck off. That's basically what she says.
Well, 13 is quite kind of... If 13's a child.
But to be fair, I would much prefer it if the Dalek showed up, says, Dalek strategy is supreme, and the Doctor just looks at it and goes, fuck off. I'd way prefer that.
I think you're more on the money by saying that she would say you're a poo head.
She would.
She is more of... 13 is more of a child.
Like, not like not like you know, an ancient being who still enjoys being childish and can appreciate the more, you know, the aspects of life that some people consider juvenile. No, just a child, like just immature. Emotionally immature and all that, jazz.
You can tell that as well when we get to later when Thasmin comes out and she clearly cannot deal with it.
Yeah. It's like I've never got the sense from any incarnation of the Doctor here before that the Doctor is incapable of dealing with like someone being romantically attracted to them. Maybe the Doctor is dismissive of it and doesn't care about it, or maybe the Doctor, you know, does have some opinions about it, but never really oblivious. And like we've taken a step back with this character. This character has lost skills and understanding of the world. Right, the Dalek. Hang on. We have more confrontation between these characters. The Dalek points out that the exits to the building have been like sealed off with flumpy goo or whatever, right? And so we get. Hang on, let me highlight the right place so I don't lose my place again. Oh yeah, so Yaz says so there's no point making a run for it, right? And the Daleks say, yeah, you can't get out, there's no escape. To which the Doctor says, I'm going to get close to the microphone for this. The Doctor says, if it's any consolation, we'd have been shot before we got there anyway. You know, because the Daleks can aim, Stuart. Because the Daleks can aim.
They can aim.
And it's just like not on, and like if you look right, You can look at the scene.
They can't aim in the specific cases where they're not supposed to aim.
Yeah.
Because apparently our characters can't get shot, otherwise there'd be no story.
If you look, right, the exit that they're talking about is immediately behind them, like what, maybe 2-3 meters, which is or to put it in other words, significantly less distance than they're able to get to run from the Dalek without getting shot as it's shooting at them consistently later in the episode. Apparently the stream is still acting up. I'm sorry, I can't do anything about that. You're just gonna have to watch it in the archive if it gets too bad.
No, you won't. You'll put up with it because I say so.
Well, if they heard that, they will. I don't know why my internet's worse than usual, but
yeah, it's not me for once.
This is it's not me. It's my ISP. Right, we get.
I blame either the Daleks. It doesn't want to be talked about.
Maybe if I just lower the stream's bitrate for a second. Let's just lower it to 800. That's embarrassingly low. That should do the trick. Right. So. Yeah, then we get a beautiful demonstration of Dan's character. So Dan, who has just been shot. Dan has just been shot by the Dalek to death, and now he's awakened, and he comments on this passively, going like, yeah, it just shot us a minute ago. And then the Dalek says that Dan is inferior, and he gets really mad, which is like, Dan, are you in the room? Like, are you okay? Do you understand what's going on around you? This creature just tried to kill you, and you were just like, yeah, it just tried to kill me a minute ago. Yeah, you're inferior. I'm what? Excuse me?
Well, it is consistent. It is. I'm just trying to think of the way that Chris would rationalize this, because Dan's character, he is working class.
Well, no, I know exactly. I know why I know why the scene is like this. It's because it leads into a joke. Dan getting mad that Dan gets mad that the Dalek called him inferior. He says, "Are you calling me inferior?" And the Dalek says, "Yes," and that's a joke, and that's why he says it.
Ha.
I guess.
Ha 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 ha.
No. Sorry. I get it wrong. He says, "Who are you calling inferior?" And the Dalek says, "You." And I don't know. I thought it was a little bit funny, but it wasn't worth bending the characters for. God, why is the stream just not working?
Because it doesn't like us.
Jay, turn your internet off and on again. That's not going to help. My internet just decides to die occasionally. I guess we've decided to stream in one of those times. Always could have happened, I suppose. I guess we could just record this and then post it.
Yes, we should do that.
Yeah, I guess that's that. Yeah, I'm just gonna type that into chat now. Since my internet has just decided to die, we'll finish this offline and upload it to the second channel.
Okay, good, because the last thing in chat just says Stuart is a dom daddy TBH. I wanted that recorded for posterity.
Right. So, if anyone watching the stream can still hear this,
Stu's so strong.
Anyway, I will end the stream now. Goodbye, anyone watching on the stream. Catch the full thing as soon as we're done on JX the Empress of Milk channel. That's where you'll find the rest. Bye-bye. This feels really weird, man.
Goodbye.
And now,
Yeah, so instead...
archive viewers,
now-
this is your bit. Hello.
Hello, archive viewers. How are you today?
Wasn't it fun when you were watching this live a few hours ago and
Oh, is that how it works? I thought archive viewers were in the future.
well, yeah, but for them, no, but that like so that when now that they're hearing this, they were watching this live a few hours ago, and then the stream ended because my internet died, and now they're just here. They've been waiting for this video to be uploaded, and it has been.
You are essentially the Doctor of this series, because you have to explain the technobabble, because otherwise my head will hurt.
Yeah, that's fair. Right, let's have a look at my notes for this episode. Oh yeah, okay.
I was just imagining you bringing out a massive book and then just sort of whacking it on the table. It's sort of
I've got a massive MacBook, but I'm not going to whack that on the table. It's kind of on its last legs anyway, to be honest.
It's just sort of like I have notes, Chris.
Right. So, why is my webcam suddenly adjusted to light different? Anyway. Right. So, I've not got any notes for this bit.
Yeah, what were we talking about again? Where were we?
We were at the second confrontation between the Daleks and the main characters.
They're right. I don't contribute anything to these because I've got no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
We're at the confrontation between the Dalek and the main character. You contribute, Stuart. I believe in you.
You got to search for the hero inside yourself. Yes, we're at the confrontation between the characters and the Dalek.
Just to be clear, the stream ended, but chat is still going.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I should probably have that up then because I normally interact with these people.
Oh no, chat stopped.
Oh, that's a shame. I'll just pretend that I can hear them in my head.
Oh no, I've lost super chat. Oh no, the super chat. No, they're not there anymore. I'll have to go and find those to read them eventually. But
oh, I've got it open on my phone. I can probably find them.
no, I'll be able to find them in YouTube Studio.
Oh, okay. Go for it then. Okay. Continue.
So we're at the second confrontation between the characters and the Dalek, and it's just some bad dialogue, and then it shoots them all. And we get the third start of the loop.
Yeah, essentially, it's around this point I realised that this episode is essentially a video game, isn't it? Where our characters like they get to a certain point in the level where they have to figure out how to stop the Daleks, and then they die, and then they respawn with the knowledge that they had last go.
Yeah. I mean, a really interesting way to do this would be if the Daleks didn't remember the time loop that our main characters did. So they have to figure out a way to outsmart the Daleks.
So then they can use the time loop to outsmart the Daleks.
Yeah. And they do sort of use... I mean, I value their solution there at the end of the episode in theory, but in practice I think it leaves something to be desired. So...
Personally, I kind of appreciate this thematically, and I think it could be doing a lot more with this, because essentially what we've got here is I'm going to bring up the comparison because I started seeing it in the chat immediately, and I was wondering when I was going to bring up the comparison. This is basically a more palatable version of Heaven Sent.
It is a bit, yeah.
It is kind of, because that's what Heaven Sent was doing. It was this metatextual thematic thing about the cyclical nature of the Doctor Who experience. Like, he's running around this castle dying over and over again, having this pointless battle over and over again. But it's kind of a more relevant thematic commentary on the general Doctor Who experience, because it's just sort of like they're running around these corridors and these Daleks and spouting technobabble and dying over and over again.
Yeah.
So it could have done more to be like a commentary on the cyclical nature of the Doctor Who experience, in that it's always running around corridors doing technobabble, fighting the Daleks again and again and again.
Well, I don't feel that we really get that much thematically interesting from this. Basically, everything that you can get out of this story thematically is summed up by the Doctor in her speech, where she's like, we're humans, you fail, but you try again, and then you fail better the next time, but you still fail, but then you try again, and you fail even better than last, and then you succeed, and that's what life is about? And you're like, I guess that's, you could say that the episode was about that, I suppose, you know?
And hang on a sec. And the Doctor summarizes the themes of the episode, talking directly into camera.
She does.
The end.
Themes that honestly, if she hadn't summarized into camera, if someone appreciating the episode, trying to argue that it was good, said to me, don't you see, it's all about this, it's all about how humans fail, but then they try again, and maybe they still fail, but it's an improvement, and then they try again, and they do even better this time, but they still don't succeed, but they try enough times and eventually they succeed, right? That's what the episode's about. It's beautiful. It's about humanity and the human condition. I'd be like, you can read that into it if you want, but I feel like you're pushing it with the interpretation. But it's like, no, that's what the episode basically tells you it's about. Which, and I do think, you're kind of pushing it here, pals. With trying to make these events meaningful. So we get the scene immediately after the second confrontation with the Daleks. Is a comedy scene for some reason, where we have a group of characters, all of whom have just died twice and then found themselves back to life, but still in the deadly situation that kills them. And they're making jokes about, oh, you guys are from the council working on New Year's Eve? Yeah, that's likely. It was like, what the fuck is going on? It's got like this comedy music under it going, blinky blonky, blinky blonky, blinky blonky, blinky blonky. And just sort of tonally, do you not want us to care about the danger at all in this episode?
Yeah, it can't seem to decide whether it's silly or serious.
I think it's sort of just decided that it's serious. I think it's just sort of decided that it's silly, but I don't think it's aware that being silly means that it's detracting from the stakes that it's also actually trying to have. I think it just thinks it can do both, I guess. So yeah, you are right.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, that's Chris in a nutshell. He doesn't realise that there's a time and a place for everything, and so it's sort of like we have all these moments mixed in together, and they just sort of stop and start in weird places. It's like let's stop the episode to talk about our feelings.
It is
which
and we get that a couple of times in this episode.
So it's like let's stop the episode and have a joke.
But then, those scenes are always ended with, okay, now let's stop our feelings and get back on with the episode.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway.
They're not really woven together at all.
We then get the scene where the Dalek misses an embarrassing... we then get one of the scenes where the Dalek misses an embarrassing number of shots because this loop isn't ready for them to die yet. And we get a weird scene where we, confront Nick, the episode's side character, about his hoarding tendencies, I guess. It's time we do that now. So we're in a storage module where it transpires that he's storing everything that used to belong to any of his ex-girlfriends, including apparently women he only went out with for a couple of days. And he's got
Is he stealing his ex-girlfriend's things then, essentially?
No, he's not. Well, I guess he might be, but it all seems to be that this is stuff that they've left in his apartment or whatever, and he's storing here in case they ever ask for it back. That's explicitly what he says.
Okay.
And he's labeled all of whose everything is. And it's just sort of basically the whole thing is that he doesn't throw stuff away. He's a hoarder. He has a problem with throwing stuff away. That's what we're doing. And it's time to confront him about these tendencies. Now, I've written down some of the dialogue here because it's so bizarre, right? But okay, I'll tell you what it is, right? Chris's goal in this scene is to get it so that Nick gets hurt, his feelings hurt, by Sarah, Aisling B's character. right? So it shouldn't be that hard to. We've basically revealed that the stuff he stores is just sort of weird, and he's kind of a hoarder. So all he needs to do is be mean about that, and you've got it. You've got your scene where she upsets him, right? That's Chris's only goal in this scene, is to have her upset him. But here's the dialogue they wrote, right? So the Nick is something, it just all belongs to my ex-girlfriends, right? And Yaz says, are these women are still all alive, right? Right? To which Nick goes, what? Oh God, yes, I'm not a creep. I'm just, so Yaz explicitly implies that Nick is murdering women. Right? That's step one. Yaz explicitly implies that she thinks that Nick's behavior is deranged enough that she thinks that he might be murdering, well, probably doesn't think that he might be murdering women, but is like, she makes a joke that, wow, this behavior that you're committing to, it's the kind of thing I think someone who murders women might do. Right? That's her comment, explicitly. You can't argue that that's not what she says, because it is. Then Nick says something else about, I need to keep all this stuff because they might want it back one day. And Sarah looks at him and says, man, you're weird. To which everyone in the room is like, Sarah, what the fuck are you saying? Well, that's not okay. You can't say that to him. He's right here. I've written down the dialogue as well. After Sarah calls him weird, Dan says, mate, that is harsh. That's too harsh. And Yaz yells at her and says, he's standing right there. And then, Yaz, you just said he murders women. What's this? Why? We just have this, basically the same. Yaz did worse, but because Nick needs to react, it's Nick's emotional connection with Sarah that Chris is trying to build in this scene. Or trying to put in jeopardy in this scene.
I feel like Yaz line should have been cut.
Yeah.
Maybe just someone didn't pick up on that.
It's basically just, it's another example of the dialogue. The dialogue isn't written in a way that naturally leads to the outcome that the writer wants. Instead, the characters' reactions to the dialogue are basically leading the audience towards what the audience is supposed to think, right? It's basically just you react how the characters react, right? The characters' reactions show you, the audience, how you should be reacting to this scene and what you should be taking away from it. Even though, I think that I would react more harshly to someone telling me that my behavior reminds them of someone who murders women than someone calling me a bit weird. Because, I remember Sarah's exact line. She just says, man, you are weird. And, that's not even necessarily derogatory.
No, not really.
Yeah.
I'm weird. I call myself weird.
It's like if you were telling me about one of your short story ideas, you came up with a new short story idea and you told me about it, and I said, man, you are weird. I don't feel like you take it as an insult.
No, own it.
Yeah. It was like, Nick's here, murdering women, I can take that, but I was under the impression that I was a completely normal guy until now, and you've shattered that for me, Sarah.
Just for the record, the inconsistency in this line from Yaz, and then getting so offended about her saying that he's weird. This is more egregious than the plot armor.
Well, it's just poorly crafted dialogue. That's all it is. It's dialogue that
a basic order of events.
Yeah.
Error.
It's the episode failing to actually make the writing do the thing that it wants the writing to do. It's not the audience can observe. Sorry. It's not a case where the audience can just see and understand the events. It's a case where the audience has to be told by the episode what they're supposed to think, because the writers can't craft events that are just that just accomplish the thing that writing is supposed to do. Anyway, one of his ex-girlfriends has a parrot, I guess, like a clay parrot. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's character.
This whole time,
I wanted to be honest, I just wanted a whole episode of like Ashleen B and this guy who just sort of stores weird things.
I mean, that would be fun. That's a great. I just hearing you say that has made me realize how fun it could be. Just this guy, yeah, who stores
Just like
weird stuff.
a sitcom about
An episode
about
of Born and
a
Bred.
woman who, yeah, a sitcom about a woman who runs a storage unit, and this guy just comes in and stores weird things.
I'd totally watch that.
And he tells her about he's seeing someone new, and this woman, she has a lot of cans of expired beef. It's just sort of like an everyday drama, but it feels like it's written by aliens.
I'd watch it. I mean, I watched this, so. The Dalek is still trying to pursue them, by the way, but it takes an age to just get through like the narrow sheet door. I know it's a different weapon, but it was established in Dalek that these things can shoot through concrete. But it's like, okay, so it's a different weapon, but why would you downgrade your weapon that much?
A Dalek is a genius. It can calculate 1 million combinations in 1 second flat.
Well, there's no combination lock. These are lock and key. But like,
well, it can't get through. It can't get through a lock with a key on it. It can't like shoot it.
Why is it degraded? It's like why has it just chosen to use weapons that are so much worse than the weapons we knew they had before?
Yeah, because these are supposed to be better weapons because Daleks learn.
Yeah. So they get killed again. Oh yeah, then we get the scene where Yaz stalls the Dalek. Honestly, I've watched this twice now, and I'm still confused about the plot details and why everything happens the way it does from this point onwards. Like,
to be honest, we could say that about literally every scene in any episode.
Well, like their plan starts forming here, and I just don't. I find it hard to follow. So Dan distracts the Dalek for reasons. There's a second Dalek. Oh, Chris Chibnall still doesn't know how long a rel is.
Oh yeah, you've done this before, haven't you? I've seen videos.
So in Resolution, the Dalek says that it's like set a countdown until the bad thing happens, and the countdown is 9 rels, or it's just 9 rels left on the countdown. And a rel is a 50th of a minute, right? And the episode, the scene then goes on for like almost a minute before that happens.
Have you actually figured this out?
No, I have figured it out. Yeah, I know. Well, no, I haven't figured it out. A rel is like, you can just Google it. How long is a rel, and it'll tell you. That people have timed this before. There are lots of nerds on the internet, and it's basically in classic Who, it was consistently a 50th of a minute, and in a lot of modern Who as well. And also in the Dalek movies, which is where it first came from.
Well, this is the problem when you're doing things like when you're making up a new measurement of time. It's like you avoid using it as much as possible because otherwise people will notice this shit.
No, you don't even have to avoid using it. Just Google how fucking long it is. It's not hard.
It's like you like avoid drawing attention to it. It's like in my novel that I'm writing at the moment, I've made up a language, and because the language that I've made up, it's supposed to have no rhyme or reason to it whatsoever. You're supposed to be completely incapable of telling what's a noun, an adjective, whatever. And because I can't be bothered to put that much work into constructing the language, I've made sure to not use it as much as possible.
Right.
So don't draw attention to the fact that the language doesn't work.
It's like just a single unit of time, like a unit of measurement for an amount of time, is such an easy thing to keep consistent, right? But in this, we've got a scene that takes place like while Dan is in the lift. He's like, "Oh, another Dalek is like the Doctor detects another Dalek signature," and it's like, okay, that means there's probably another Dalek here, and Dan volunteers to go and distract it so that they can get on with their plan of, they want to go and investigate what's being stored upstairs to see if there's anything good that they can use to save themselves, right? And Dan is like, well, I'll distract the other Dalek. And then there's a long scene where they're like, you sure about that? And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And then there's another scene, and then Dan arrives to distract the Dalek. And it's like, what, at least 30 seconds later? And the Dalek says it arrived 1.1 rels ago, which is like a second and a half. And you're like, did you? I'm pretty sure you've been here for longer than that because you were detected like 20 rels ago. And it's like, it's not a big thing to complain about, but it's also not a hard thing to get right.
Well, maybe these Daleks have learning difficulties.
Maybe, but they've learned other things.
Don't be prejudiced against the Dalek who...
Are you suggesting that maybe it's supposed to be canon that the Daleks don't know how long a rel is?
Maybe these Daleks don't.
Maybe. I mean, they do shoot each other.
Yes, and they do miss...
Anything that's not a still start a target.
Anything that's not a still target, yeah.
Right, so Dan distracts the Dalek in a laughable display where he goes up to it and says, he pretends that he's just there, like he's a customer of the establishment. And he's like, hey, I'm looking for a place to store my box. And the Dalek's like, well, I can't help you with that, I'm a Dalek. And Dan's like, are you some kind of robot worker or something? And it's like, no, I'm a Dalek. And Dan's like, well, I need some help storing my box. And the Dalek's like, well, I can't help you with that, I'm a Dalek. And you just sort of like, I don't know, is this all it takes to distract? Like, Dan's like, I'll distract the Dalek. How? I'll make casual conversation with it. So why didn't they just shoot him? Why? Why?
Well, because then he'd die and there'd be no story. Oh wait, there would be a story.
And but then
what the fuck?
Eventually, the Dalek works out that he's just stalling for time, and Dan is able to continue to not get shot by it for a while by side strafing around it.
Because the thing about Daleks is that they can't
Go upstairs.
they can't turn. By the way, if you ever do another of those accurate 13th Doctor parody things, I really think that if you have Daleks in them, you should just do the voice like that, just like, "Hello, mate, I'm a Dalek."
Yeah, I might actually. The thing is, like, as well, it's like people might say, but it's like, well, this is just a weakness of the Daleks. If you did run around them in a circle, they wouldn't be able to shoot you. It's like, no. I mean, first of all, it's explicitly shown in Dalek and in Passing of the Ways and in loads of other Dalek appearances that they can rotate their midsection very fast. I don't believe that Dan is running that fast. And it's like, it doesn't, and again, it fits the pattern. It doesn't kill him by like outpacing his side strafing, which honestly, if that happened, I would be fine with him getting away by side strafing for a second. No, Dan stops side strafing eventually and just gives up to being shot because apparently he's decided that he's distracted the Dalek enough, I guess. Like,
and now is the set point for me to die.
Yeah, now is the set point where it's fine if the Dalek starts chasing the other characters. It's like, surely he just wanted to give them as much time as as he can, but instead he just sort of eventually gives up for no reason.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I'm trying to find the actual moment, but without playing it for too long. So that we don't get the video taken down when we upload it. It's weird that it's not a stream, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so strange. I could say anything right now.
Well, I mean, you could normally say anything. Just this is still going on YouTube, so you can't violate TOS.
Normally say anything within reason. I'll tell you someone's home address soon.
Who's?
I actually know Tharry's. I actually know Tharry's home address.
Stay tuned, gang.
Tharry's home address because I sold him something on my eBay store.
Stay tuned for the Tharry's home address reveal.
I won't do that. For the record, Darius, if you're watching, I won't do that. Honestly, promise.
I will.
I love you. Um, but yeah, and unlike the set points and where these characters die. While we're on that point, we are recording. Nothing just happened while I was.
No, nothing's happened.
No, nothing's happened. Yeah, on the set points where these characters are supposed to die. This is my main problem with the plot armor argument, because like I don't. Generally speaking, I really do not give a shit about the plot armor argument. It's sort of like, all right, okay, I accept the fact that if the characters get shot, usually they will die. But it's sort of like Chris has given himself this reason not to kill the characters over and over again because they only have a set amount of loops that they can do because the loop gets smaller and smaller each time.
Yeah.
But which, all right, fine, that gives us some degree of stakes. But it's like, then what is the point in having a time loop in this story at all if you haven't allowed yourself to play about with it? You got a set number of times. If you got a set number of times the characters can die, and set points at which they are going to die, like there's a certain amount of action up until the point where they die, certain amount of action in which they can get killed over and over again, but don't because there is a set point that I have decided that they can die. So it's like if you've got this fun little concept here that you can do countless things with, why not play with it?
Oh, yeah, I mean, just in even the basic stuff. Like, you know what? If I was doing the first scene at the beginning of the episode where Yaz, the Doctor, and Dan all get shot to death by the Dalek for the first time with no idea that they're about to survive, I would play with that, right?
Yeah.
I would actually give it a second. So like maybe maybe the Doctor like maybe she yells run and like Dan gets gunned down. You're like, oh my god, did they kill Dan? Is that something this episode is going to be about? And then like and then Yaz gets a bit further and like the Dalek is actually pursuing them.
And then Yaz dies and the Doctor's like, oh my god, fuck.
And the Doctor
are we all actually dying now?
Almost like, I don't know, like maybe Yaz is like banging on a door trying to get through it, and the Doctor sonics it, and I don't know, like,
and it's
the Doctor is trying to sonic it, and she gets shot as she's sonicking it, but she's like sort of still trying to hold on to life. You know, maybe the life isn't gone from her totally because she's a Time Lord. That kind of tricky shits, and they cling on to life quite a lot. And then Yaz is like is distracted, but she's still trying to bang on the door, and she gets shot before she can really process it all, and then the Doctor gets shot while she's on the ground, and that finally takes her out. And it's like, no, it's just a scene where they're like, oh, I guess we're gonna die, and then they die.
Yeah, it's sort of like the reason I brought up Groundhog Day earlier is Groundhog Day is playful.
Oh yeah,
like,
Groundhog Day really explores its idea.
Yeah, exactly. We go from him trying certain different things to see whether that can get him out of the time loop, and then he tries different things. He goes completely overboard. He, hijacks the car and drives it on the train tracks, and then he starts killing himself over and over again just to sort of see how this time loop works.
Yeah,
but they don't really experiment. They don't really see how the time loop works.
So the Doctor and Yaz explore the materials. They find a load of explosive barrels, which is like, I guess that's handy, you know. And we get like a romantic scene between Nick and Sarah, which... Stuart, do you have opinions about these scenes? Yeah.
They just sort of make me imagine Chris Chibnall having sex, and I don't want to do that.
Stuart.
This is the point where you ask me what is wrong with you.
I don't feel that I need to ask. We've got... Yeah, so they both get killed again. Hang on, did she get killed running at this point?
I literally cannot remember. I watched this in a haze with hobnobs, and the hobnobs were more interesting.
I think she might.
I don't know. Have you still got the episode up?
I have, but you need to be careful not to play it for too long at a time. Wait, no, so she arrives at a locked door, and she's trying to open it. And she gets killed as she's trying to open it. I mean, it's the closest thing to a struggle that we get, I suppose. It's certainly better than her just standing there and accepting it.
Which is what happens in every other situation.
I guess in all of them, they are still looking at the Dalek. Like, she's like... There is sort of this moment of realization where she stops trying at the door and she looks at the Dalek just in time to be shot. So I'm just going to fetch a drink real quick. Can you read, like, the highway code or something?
Okay, hang on. What is on...
You don't have much time. I'll be quick.
Okay. I will be reading, thematically relevant, I'll be reading the Target novelization of Doctor Who and the Terror of the Autons, because that is handy, and also it has Doctor Who in it. And you people like Doctor Who, don't you? Okay. Doctor Who and the Terror of the Autons, £1.50. That is how much I paid for it. It's in a charity shop somewhere. Doctor Who and the Terror of the Autons, based on the BBC television serial by Robert Holmes, by arrangement with the British Broadcasting Corporation. I will be reading the entire copyright page and everything. Terence Dix, illustrated by Alan Willow. A Target book published by the paperback division of W.H. Allen & Co. Limited. A Target book published in 1975 by the paperback division of W.H. Allen & Co. Limited. A Howard and Wyndham Company. 44 Hill Street, London, W1X8LB. Reprinted 1979.
Oh, I love
Reprinted
1979.
1980. Oh, yeah, I started reading the Target novelization of Doctor Who and the Terror of the Autons, but I didn't... I only got up to the copyright page.
Well, that's good, because it's copyrighted. You can't be reading that out.
Yeah, so I just... So yeah, I treated the listeners to some information.
That's beautiful.
Anyway, where were we?
Well, Aisling B just got shot to death.
Oh, good. Why? No, why did I say that? I like Ash.
There are two Daleks here now, because the Daleks, they've realised that their plan isn't working, so they've upped the ante from sending one individual Dalek assassin to sending two individual Dalek assassins.
Oh yeah, so it's wait, was it explained why Daleks can enter the time loop but no one else can get out?
Well, the Daleks, I think they set up the barrier preventing the Doctor from leaving.
Oh right, okay.
So it's like sort of, and we're getting into the end game of the episode now. Oh my god, I've just seen this scene where Nick defeats a Dalek by ducking. That's here. So like we're in the end game of the episode now, where
It
our
would have been
characters
fun.
come up with their plan.
It would have been funnier if they'd missed every single shot.
It would. Oh, they did. Oh wait, no, on each other.
Yeah, on
One
each
of them,
other.
one of them just shoots wildly into the side of the room, and the other one just shoots the floor.
Yeah, and it just says, "Fuck, we really need target practice."
And then they kill Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting into the end game of the episode.
I think it's a problem of location choice. They shouldn't have done it in such tight corridors because it just makes it obvious.
Well, I don't think that you can defeat the Daleks by ducking pretty much anywhere.
Well,
They
no,
keep shooting
no,
for
that's-
so long after he ducks. And they're just shooting, they're just unloading their guns into each other. Like, oh, this is painful. I wish we would stop.
Yeah, they continue shooting. Yeah. I think also the minigun. That's another problem that's exacerbated this whole plot armor argument. It's like if the Daleks had just had regular Dalek guns, I would believe all of these missed shots.
I
But
mean,
it's because
there are a lot of them, though.
Yeah, there are a lot of them though, but it's because it's given so many shots. It draws so much attention to the missed shots.
It does.
It's like you can't blame people for noticing that.
No, because it's really conspicuously bad.
Yeah, it's because they make it so obvious. And it's like, oh, you're nitpicking because of plot armor. No, I'm not. It's like, if you show that right in my face, obviously I'm going to notice.
Yeah. So we get a time loop. So basically, their plan is to just blow up all the Daleks with the explosive barrels by tricking a Dalek into shooting the explosive barrels. And this is the main element of the thing that I like, right? Is on the loop just before they enact this plan, and I think this is clever. They go through a loop where instead of enacting their plan or trying to enact their plan, they do all of the opposite things, so that the Dalek will think that their plan is something else, and then on the next loop they'll remember that, and they'll try to counteract a plan that isn't actually their plan. Now I think
that's quite nice.
that they make it too obvious. They're not actually like when in this loop when the Doctor and Yaz and Dan get killed, they're just chilling and like having a cup of tea or something. It's like, weren't you trying to persuade the Daleks that this was a plan that you were enacting? Like, surely you should have gone, oh no, they've got us too soon and we're not fast enough to enact our plan or whatever. You know, surely you should have actually tried to make it look like there was a plan that you were failing to enact. Anyway, then we get Phasmin.
Yeah, that happens.
So Dan basically
so-
just looks at Yaz like, I know how you feel about her. And
So let's stop the episode. Yaz, how are you feeling?
Yaz goes into denial, like, no, I don't actually. And Dan's like, you do. I guess that's it, really? Yaz says, I never admitted it to anyone, not even myself. Being a blind man with dead parents is very hard.
I was waiting for you to do the reference.
But it's like, I don't.
How are you feeling? Blind.
Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. I was like, you know how Dan and the Doctor and Yavs have spent... Well, no, sorry, Dan and Yavs have spent 3 years with each other, but Dan apparently knows the Doctor well enough later to say, you do know that Yaz likes you, don't you? But, you know, you don't want to admit it to yourself or whatever. It's like, you've had like 5 minutes of on-screen time together before this episode, and most of their on-screen time together is just like running around and stuff. Like there's no scene of Dan like actually observing this stuff and figuring it out. It's just Dan knows because he has a knowing smile, which I guess means he knows. Like I've seen every Doctor and Yaz interaction, and I had no idea that apparently the Doctor likes Yaz, almost as if it's a retcon to please fans.
Or
Yaz
Yaz likes the Doctor. Apparently, people.
No, I mean
saw
Yaz
this.
liking the Doctor, I think, is pretty apparent because she's just got like, I mean, she's got like, she's always characterized as like having this weird infatuation with the Doctor. But it doesn't seem like a healthy crush or romantic attraction. It seems like...
Yeah, it doesn't. I wasn't getting that, but then again, I am typically oblivious to these sort of things.
I mean, Yaz is just sort of weirdly obsessed with the Doctor. But the Doctor...
Which I understand why.
care.
Which I understand why. Like, the Doctor took her to explore time and space.
I mean, kind of, but like, I don't...
But it's sort of like, does that immediately translate to romantic attraction?
But what does Yaz value about the Doctor as a person? Like, I don't really get it.
Yeah, I don't get that.
She is a good person who does good things. Is that it? It's like, I'm still, waiting on the scene where they bond meaningfully.
And that means that they want to do a sex together.
Yeah. Anyway, on the final loop, the Doctor sets up...
Yeah, was I missing something? Oh, have we been missing something? There's got to be like one scene somewhere, because apparently people were waiting for this.
Well, shipping communities are weird, Stuart. You know that there were people waiting for Rey to kiss Kylo.
Yeah, true.
Like it's just someone mentions it as an idea, and then like two scenes where like one of them looks at the other one and smiles will be circulated, going, "Oh my god, they're so into each other! Look!" And then the next thing you know, it's canon because the writers are desperate for like fan approval or something. Like that's certainly what happened. I feel in Rise of Skywalker, where they were just like, "Fuck it, lots of people seem to want this, so let's do it." I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And-
I know that people are going to tell me that I'm oblivious to this shit, and it's like,
No, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked
didn't-
if it was the same thing going on here. It's like people seem to want this, so let's do it. I guess might have been the
Yeah.
discussion in the writers' room.
yeah, it's like, was there a scene of like the Doctor and Yaz having a conversation with sexual undercurrents? Were there like long lingering looks that I just
I
didn't
think this was supposed to be like the hologram scene from Flux, but anything before that, like there's nothing really for them building their relationship.
No, I can't.
It's
There
like-
was
The hologram scene from Flux basically is telling us that we're already there. It's like, I miss you so much. I care about you. It's like it's basically this whole scene. It's like I don't think we've had their relationship developed to this point though. It's like you want to tell me that they care about each other like this much? Where
Well, Yaz likes the Doctor. Yaz thinks the Doctor is good. That's about it that I've got. Hang on, the official Doctor Who Facebook account posted a status with a picture of the Yaz with a picture of Thasmin a little while ago. It says, "If you do you want to bring it up? I don't know if you're on Facebook, but
I haven't seen it. I don't know what it is.
yeah, it's a picture. And the status says, "I don't know what to do, Dan. I've never told anyone, not even myself." And there's like three pictures from this era. There's a picture of Yaz with like her noteboard when she was going crazy in Revolution of the Daleks. Then there's a picture under that of Yaz just sort of looking off wistfully, which I don't know what episode that's from.
Yeah.
And then there's a picture from this episode of Yaz finally admitting it to Dan. I don't know what the middle one is of Yaz just sort of looking off wistfully.
They don't develop a relationship.
I don't recognize what episode that was from, but it's like all that we've got is Yaz likes the Doctor.
I think if I make a video
What
about
did you
this,
like
or
about
when I make a
Doctor?
video about this, I'll use the relationship between Jamie and oh god, I'm blanking on her name. Because she
Zoe.
just gets called Poppins the whole time in Bly. As like my good example of like, yeah, there's clearly foundation for their relationship forming over the course of the series here.
Oh yeah, totally there, yeah.
And I'll talk about why and how it's formed and how the relationship is basically a natural result of the scenes. And it's like, here we just get, it's just sort of, oh, that they like each other, I guess. Cool, that's neat, I suppose.
There, done.
Anyway, the final loop comes up where the Doctor basically just sets up a load of explosive barrels and tricks the Daleks into shooting it with a phone that plays a person's voice, so the Dalek thinks that someone's hiding in there. It's kind of a piss poor deception for a Dalek to fall for, really, but I guess it ends the episode, so I'm fine with it.
Given what happened at the end of Flux to the Daleks, and how it was basically just the Sontarans said, "Go here because we said so."
Yeah, and they do, and
I'll-
then they die.
I'll let this one pass.
I was like, I don't want to let it pass. It is a really stupid thing they fall for.
By comparison, though,
And I don't even know that the explosion should destroy them. Like, they're from the Time War.
yeah, that's true. But
It's-
it destroys them, and it just. I do quite like that. It's like we're in this warehouse full of like weird, random, idiosyncratic objects, and the Doctor and Co use those to.
It's
trick
also like...
to
well,
use those in order to engineer a solution to it.
But it is sort of
I quite like that, and I also like that results in the building being destroyed and a fireworks display at midnight on New Year's
But-
Eve. It's stupid in a stretch, but
at the same time,
suppose
it's just
that's
sort
quite
of like...
pretty.
We've got loads of objects, loads of random objects to forge a solution with. Which ones can we use? How can we possibly do that? Well, some of the objects are bombs. I guess we'll blow them up. That's the solution, I suppose.
that's the solution, I suppose. How would you have destroyed the Daleks with like hundreds of cans of beans and beef?
I don't know, to be honest. But it's like, it's sort of... I mean, I appreciate the idea of like let's defeat the Daleks with loads of idiosyncratic objects that we've just got here. But it's like when most of the objects are entirely useless and one of them is just a bomb. It's like, well, I feel like it's the bomb that did the work here. Anyway, yeah, we also get the scene where they return into the TARDIS. Because yeah, that's the thing, the TARDIS survives the blast perfectly well. So, having like set up, the TARDIS, it needs to reset, right? We get a scene where they re-enter the TARDIS here, I think. Oh yeah, there's also a cameo from the guy from The Woman Who Fell to Earth. Do you remember him? Yeah, the guy who Tim Shaw is trying to kill.
I don't remember this point. I think I zoned out and was looking
he's
at
walking
my phone.
past the fireworks display and he's like, whoa, a fireworks display, and he takes a picture of it with his phone.
Wait, that was a callback? I thought
Yeah.
it was just a random guy.
No, that was the guy from Woman Who Fell to Earth who Tim Shaw was trying to kill.
You have a much better memory for this stuff than me.
To be fair, right, someone did point it out on Twitter before I saw the episode, so I don't know if I would have caught it myself.
Oh, okay. But then again, you did make a 5-hour video about the question.
That's true. I do have like I forget that I'm much more familiar with this than a lot of other people are. So yeah, we get the TARDIS rebuilds itself, and we get this like music because like obviously like yeah, the TARDIS, we did like a TARDIS reset, you know. I was assuming, and I think so many people were assuming that. Were you assuming that this is how we were going to get the new TARDIS design for the next Doctor?
Not really.
Were you not really? Was that not where your brain was at?
Not really. As said, by this point in the episode, I totally zoned out because the second that I realised that they weren't going to play with the premise at all, I just couldn't be asked for it.
I genuinely did find this episode boring, is the word that I'd use to describe it. Like, I just found myself utterly bored sitting through this.
Yeah,
also, I was laughing quite a lot, but not because they wanted me to.
I zoned out about halfway through.
And then, so what we get though is like, so the start of the episode, it's set up. Yeah, we have to reset the TARDIS. We're going to reconfigure the TARDIS or whatever, reset it to fix all of the flux goo that's stuck in it. And so then we get this sort of building swelling music as they're walking back into the TARDIS, and you're like, oh yeah, they're going to reveal the new TARDIS. And they do this like this swelling music to be like, look at this majestic thing, but it's the same set as before, and you're just like, what? Why are you showing me the like dramatic reveal music if you're going to show me a thing I've seen 1,000 times and is, to be honest, quite ugly?
Yeah, why not just make it a slightly different colour?
Look at you.
Oh yeah, we missed a bit as well.
Have we?
Yeah, we missed the bit where the Daleks reveal that the reason that they're hunting the Doctor is apparently because
right. That's so
they're
dumb.
annoyed. That's really dumb, right? It's like the reason, Doctor, the reason we are hunting you is we're annoyed about that thing you did in the last episode. And it's like, isn't the reason that they're hunting the Doctor because she's the Doctor?
Well, it's like, hang on, there's weird dialogue for this scene as well, because like, not even that. The Doctor somehow assumes that the reason isn't just that she's the Doctor and she's killed like millions of Daleks over the course of her life. Let's see, I think I wrote it down. Yeah, so the Dalek says, we're executing you for your actions against the Daleks. And she says, what particular actions? And because apparently there need to be particular actions. And then,
couldn't it just
funnily
be any?
enough, there are particular actions. They're like, the last ones that you did. It's really odd. And it's like, I don't get the sense that Chris understands the Daleks or the stories.
Generally, yeah. Like, but why would you come up with a fun premise and not play with it? It's just like, I don't understand how his mind works.
We then get a scene to show that Sarah and Nick have got together in the meantime, which is good, I suppose, because they are characters who know each other.
Will you permit them happiness?
No.
There you go. Sarah and Nick, you're not allowed happiness because Jay
Yeah. And then we get a shot of the TARDIS, which looks quite nice. And that's the episode. And then, hey, Stuart, the Sea Devils are coming.
Hooray! Yeah.
Do you remember the Sea Devils, Stuart?
They were in the past.
They were, but now they're going to be in the present again for a while.
And then they're not going to be. Well, on the bright side, there's only 2 episodes left.
Well, Stuart, you know what? I would say that Sea Devils fighting pirates is a premise almost as cool as Daleks stuck in a time loop trying to kill people.
And I wonder how he'll fuck that up.
You seem angrier than usual today, Stuart.
I don't know, just this fandom.
Have you just been burnt by people reacting so poorly to your joke on Twitter?
Yes, it's just sort of like all I did was a joke, and yet people are trying to drag me into this discourse about plot armor. It's sort of like, okay, fine. If you want me to drag me into this discourse about plot armor, then fine. You're all making really shit points.
Fair. Oh, yeah, very fair. I'm ready to read these super chats, by the way, I think. Let's have a look at these. Yeah, here they are. Jay, what are your thoughts on the librarian? It's kind of like Doctor Who. I don't know what that is. Stuart, do you?
The librarian.
Yeah.
Hang on a sec. I will Google. What is the librarian?
It's a show, I think. No, novels.
The Librarian is a series of original fantasy adventure made for television films by the Turner Network. Apparently it's about a librarian.
That makes sense.
You know, the title follows the premise.
You know, I totally enjoy just watching these and doing a stream like this for them or something.
Should we do that next?
We could totally do that. James, you talk the librarian.
Fuck Doctor Who. Let's just do the librarian.
I want to do both.
Librarian Quest for the Spear.
Let's watch Jay and Stu talk the librarian, the quest for the spear.
Yeah, let's watch that next. I said fuck Doctor Who. It's not trying hard enough.
We've got thank you both for the company while I'm ill. Thank you, Super Chatter, for the company while I'm ill. And thank you, Stuart, for the company while I'm ill.
And thank you for not infecting me with coronavirus via the internet.
It's too early to thank me for that. Got this episode seems totally dog shit. Is it funny? It is, but I don't think how funny it is counterbalances how boring it is.
Yeah, that's true. Occasionally it made me laugh.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing. I said I don't even feel that strongly towards this episode either way, really.
Yeah, like
I got incensed by people trying to drag me into a conversation that I didn't want to have.
it's just a collection of Chibnall tropes, really. At this point, it's like, would we have lost any kind of original ideas and content if this episode just never got made? And it's like, no, I don't think so. There's nothing in this that you don't get in other Chibnall episodes.
If it had been made by someone who knew what they were doing, then maybe.
I mean, that'd be nice.
I mean, because that's the thing. Chris's ideas aren't bad.
Well, no, but like you can do so many ideas well. It's like, just it's so much of it is in the execution. We've got finally. Wallace and Gromit would have done it better. This is from the same person who always argues that Wallace and... Yeah.
Same person, always Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah. They manage to always catch these streams live. That's the impressive thing.
Well, if you're gonna be obsessively fanning, if you're gonna be an obsessive fan of anything, be an obsessive fan of Wallace and Gromit.
I thought you were gonna say us, and I was ready to be like, yeah. And then you went Wallace and Gromit, and I'm like, yeah. Makes sense. Anyway, thanks for coming on, Stuart.
Thank you for having me, Jay.
It's good to have you. That's why I asked you.
It has been a pleasure. This is an entirely natural conversation.
Goodbye, everyone
Goodbye. Join us next time, in
For
which we will discuss the
the
librarian.
librarian quest for the spear.
Quest for the spear.
Bye.
It's a big spear.